In this video, we are going to do final revision, say revision 1, right, for the science class 10th. Now let's see how many questions we can do in one go. I'll start with MCQs here. The first MCQ, it says that a student is burning magnesium. Question says that a student burning magnesium ribbon in air collected the product in a wet glass. The new product so formed is. So what we know that magnesium is a very reactive metal, but when it reacts with oxygen, it burns with oxygen to produce magnesium oxide. Well, in one go, it may appears to you that the answer is magnesium oxide, but this is not correct. What you can see that the glass here is wet, right? Glass is wet here, it's not dry. That means this magnesium hydroxide so produced during the reaction, that's white powder, will react with water to produce magnesium hydroxide is MgOH whole twice. So therefore, what you should say here that C is the correct answer, right? It should be C here. So I'll just tell you which is the correct answer. That's C, right? The next question is plastic insulation surrounding the wire of diameter D and length L as shown here. So this the material that you can see is actually a plastic insulation surrounds a wire. Okay, this is plastic insulation surrounds the wire. Okay, whose length is given. A decrease in resistance of the wire would be produced on increasing the. Okay, what do we know that R is directly proportional to length. R is inversely proportional to cross section area. So decrease in resistance is only possible on increasing the thickness or the diameter. So diameter is given, so we can say it's correct because on increasing the length, the resistance increases. They are asking for what? They're asking for decrease in resistance. Decrease in resistance will be possible when there is an increase in cross-section area of the wire, section of cross-section wire, and that is the thickness here. And the next question is a copper wire is held between the magnet. Well, we can see the wire over here. The current of the wire can be reversed. Fine. The pole of the magnet can be changed. All right. And in how many of the four direction can the force act? So clearly this is from the Fleming's left-hand rule. That's very clear to us. Now, as you can see that the direction of the magnetic field is from north to south. Right. So the direction of magnetic field is this, north to south. And it can be reversed. So we can say it can be south to north also. The direction of current, maybe say this direction, and can be reversed like this also. So what we know on reversing the direction, let's say if I write C for current, M for magnetic field, C for current, M for magnetic field, and F for direction, right? So we know that just changing the direction of current will change the direction of force, but it changing means does not moving in any angle. So if the force in this direction, the force will become in this direction. Now on changing the magnetic field, assume the force was acting in this direction without changing the current direction. The direction of magnetic field will be this, right? Opposite. And if you're changing both of them, then if the direction was this originally, now it remains this only. So we can say that direction here can be reversed, right? So it may act on the same direction or opposite direction. So they can change in only two ways. In the next question, as you can see, a diagram that depicts what it depicts. We have to show the variation that takes place in maximum. So you can figure out that A here, in case of A, this is self-pollination. C is also self-pollination. B is cross-pollination. That means anther, the pollen from the anther of plant first, I mean the whatever that this plant is being transferred over here. In the other case, anther from this is transferred. So these two are cross-pollination, right? These two are cross-pollination. This and this are cross-pollination. And as you know that cross-pollinations can bring about more variations. So we can say that option B, right? It's B and D. So that is option B. In the next question, it says there is an experimental setup, right? As you can see in the diagram, and name the chemical used to absorb the gas which is evolved during as a product of respiration. Okay, what do we know that during respiration, whether it's taken by plant or by animal, what is produced? Carbon dioxide is produced, right? When we respire, carbon dioxide is produced. And this carbon dioxide is absorbed by QH, right? You should know that potassium hydroxide absorbs carbon dioxide. So therefore, this X must be B, QH. This question says an aqueous solution of a salt shows orange red. So it's a salt, right? It's a salt and its color is orange red. When a drop of universal solvent, universal indicator, right? Universal indicator is added. So the salt is made up of what? So one thing is very clear that the salt is acidic in nature, right? And this is acidic in nature. As you know, the color here is orange red. And acidic salt is formed is what? With a strong acid and a weak base. Let's figure out. The first option is strong acid and a strong base. No, because a strong acid and a strong base will give you the resultant as a neutral salt. Weak acid and weak base, again a neutral salt. We are looking for a acidic salt. Strong acid and weak base. Yeah, that should be the correct. Right. This will result you giving an acidic salt. This is not true because this is weak acid and a strong base will give you basic salt. So correct option is option C here. This is the correct one. It says when lead nitrate powder is heated in a boiling tube, we observe what? So lead nitrate is what? PbNO3 whole twice. That's Pb. This is PbNO3 whole twice. And when it is heated, what is formed? Lead oxide, PbO plus NO2 plus O2. I'm not balancing it. Now, what do we know? That oxygen is a colorless and odorless gas, but the color of this nitrogen dioxide is brown. So brown fumes comes out of nitrogen dioxide, right? And we should also know that this is white powder, right? Lead oxide is white. Well, I think brown fumes of no other options are not correct. So we'll say that A is the correct option in this case. In the next question, it says when a ray of light passes through a glass prism, it suffers two refractions. During these refraction, the ray bends. So before reading the option, I prefer to make the diagram. Let's say I make a lens. So it's not a lens, it's a glass prism. So what we know here that first the incident ray which strikes this lens, oh sorry, this is prism. First it will bend towards normal and then away from normal. And what is normal here is the one which is perpendicular to this refracting surface are like this. Okay. Now what we can figure out that first it is bending towards normal and then away from normal. While these rays, they are talking about uh, bends away from the base. No, it's not away from the base. Towards the base in both cases. And that's right. As you can see that the undeviated ray in this case, an undeviated ray would have gone in this direction, right? But it's bending towards normal. As you can see from the diagram, it's bending towards normal. And an undeviated ray in this case, the second one, let's use blue for this. Undeviated ray would have gone in this direction, but as you can see, it is bending towards the base. So, well, the correct option should be B as it is. But let's read the other part also. It says towards the base in the first case, clearly not, and away from the base. Away from the base in the first case and towards the base in the second case. So we'll say that B is the correct option. And the next question, it says power of the combination of two lenses are in contact is positive one diopter. If the focal length of one of the lenses of combination is plus 0. No, is 20.0 centimeter, the focal length of the other. So let's figure out what is the formula for power of combination. We say the resultant power is P1 plus P2 plus P3 and so on. Now, since we have two lenses here, so I can say P is equal to P1 plus P2. And what do we know that P is 1 over F? And so P1 can be written as 1 over F1 and P2 can be written as 1 over F2. Or what I can see is we are given the power of this lens, right? So let's figure out that we know the power of the combination. Let's understand once again. We know the power of this combination. So I can replace this P, which is the power of the combination, by 1, positive 1. Here the sign is matter. And the focal length of the one lens in combination. So let's say if I know the focal length of the first lens, I'm using F1 for this. F1 is 20 centimeter. And what we know that P1 will be 1 by F1, as we know that power is reciprocal of focal length in meter. So first I'll get this in meter, which is 0.20, and replacing the value of this F here, we can figure out from this that P1 must be 1 over 0.20. That comes out to be 100, dividing is 5 diopter. So I'll be writing this as 5 diopter. P1 as 5, positive 5, as it is given positive. Now P2 is what? Missing. So I can say P2 comes out to be 1 minus 5 is minus 4 diopter. But check, we have to find the focal length of the lens, right? So once we have got the power of this second lens, we can find its focal length using the same relation. P2 is equal to 1 over F2. Well, we know P2 as minus 4, so it's 1 over F2. So I can say by cross multiplication, F2 is 1 over minus. Minus is always in the numerator. But this is in centimeters, right? These are decimals. This is in centimeters, so we must multiply by 100 because the options given are all in centimeter and we got this in meter. That's why I'm doing so. Multiplying by 2, so we got F2 as how much? Minus 25 centimeter. So therefore, the answer for this is C is the correct option in this case. In the next question, it says the image formed by a candle flame formed by a lens, so it is a lens, is obtained on a screen. So that it is formed on a screen, and that means it is real inverted on the other side of the lens. According to the new sign convention, if the image formed is three times the size of the object. So these are the points need to be taken care. If the image is formed on a screen, that means it is real and inverted, right? And what do you know that only in case of a convex lens, the image formed is real inverted, right? So what we know that when the object is placed, say between F and 2F, so say the parallel rays, and then it will pass through the focus, pass through the focus, yeah, and after refraction, okay, we bend it further. It's going to be like this, right? So the image formed is bigger in size. So you know that only in case of a convex lens, the image formed is real inverted. So it has to be convex lens. Now, what do we see that the image formed is on the screen, and on a screen, the image formed is real and inverted. In that case, magnification is always negative, right? So one thing is clear, M is going to be negative. Further, it is 3 times. So we determine that M is minus 3. And the lens is convex lens. So the first option is concave, so not possible. Concave lens, not possible. Convex lens, yeah. Convex lens is this, and magnification is minus 3. So therefore, C is the correct answer in this case. The question says a student determines the focal length of a device by focusing the image of a far off object on a screen placed on the opposite side of the object, the device is. So what we know that the image is formed on a screen, right? So since the image is formed on a screen, it has to be real inverted. So what we know that concave lens does not forms a real image. So this cannot be possible. Concave mirror forms a real image, and convex lens also forms a real image. Convex mirror does not forms a real image. But what you should know that in case of a concave mirror, like in case of a concave mirror, the image formed is when real inverted of a far off object, it is formed at the focus, but is on the same side of the object, right? On the left hand side. But then when you read the question here properly, it says that the image is formed on the other side of the object. So it has to be convex lens, right? So when parallel beams of light falls into it, when parallel beams of light, it meet at the focus, right? It meet at the focus. So it cannot be concave mirror. As you can see, it is formed on the other side. So other side, it has to be convex lens. So we say C is the correct answer for this. It says an optical device forms an erect image of an object. So image is erect here and is placed in front of it, the object here. If the size of the image is 1/2, that means we have an image which is virtual erect and it is smaller in size, or you can say diminished. Well, what we know that in concave mirror, the image formed is virtual erect, but it is, if it forms virtual erect, then it is enlarged. In convex mirror, yeah, that's true. In convex mirror, the image formed is virtually erect, and in all cases, it is always erect. So this is virtually erect and smaller, diminished. So this is correct. Plane mirror also forms a virtual erect, but in that case, the image is always equal in size. Not possible. Convex lens, convex lens can forms virtual erect, but in that case, the image formed is enlarged, right? So therefore, this can also not be an option. Well, there can be one more possible answer for that, that is concave lens, but this is not an option. So you should know that virtual erect and smaller in virtual erect and smaller in size is possible either in convex mirror or concave lens. So as for the option, we'll go for the B is the correct in this case. In the next question, it says if the lens and obviously a spherical lens has to be and a spherical mirror have both focal length as minus 15 centimeter, then what it may be concluded? It means both concave, one concave, other convex and all. So what you know that in a concave mirror, the correct answer is both concave. You should know that focal length is negative for concave mirror as well as concave lens. So let's justify the answer here. We know that in case of a concave mirror, its focal length is over here, all right? Principal focus is here. So what do you know that an actual intersection of rays of light? Well, that's not important. What is important that it is negative. Why? Because anything which is measured from the pole to the left hand side is taken as negative. Well, in case of what's that? Yeah, concave. This is concave lens, right? This is concave lens and it has a virtual focus. But let me explain this part first. But you know that a rays of light passing through it diverge like this. And we say its principal focus is on this side. That is on the left hand side of the lens. And as we know, anything which is measured from optical center to the left should be taken as negative. So we'll say that option A is correct. The next part is says that separation of right hand side and left hand side of human heart is useful for what? So what we know, let's say if I just make 4 chamber like this of the heart, right? So we know this is left atrium, right atrium, left uh, uh, left atrium, left ventricle, right atrium, right ventricle, and there is a wall separating them. That's called septum. the left hand side and right hand side of the heart? Well, what you know that we have oxygenated blood on the left hand side, right? This is the left, right? By diagram we take opposite. This is the left hand side of the heart, and this being the right hand side. So we know that the left hand side of the blood, that is left atrium, left ventricle, receives oxygenated blood. Left atrium receives oxygenated blood from the heart, then it goes to the left ventricle and then to the rest of the body. So it has oxygenated blood and this has deoxygenated blood. And as I said, the septum, the wall dividing it, right, the middle wall, is keeps the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood separate. So we'll say that A is the correct option in this case. The next question is the sequence of anaerobic respiration in our muscle cells during heavy exercise. Well, most of you know that during heavy exercise, lactic acid is produced, and I can see there is only one options. But let's expand, elaborate, find it other parts of this whether it's correct or not. Lactic acid is produced. Now, irrespective, whatever is the path, whether where it is taking place in the muscle cells or in mitochondria or it is in yeast, in all cases, it has to undergo this part that is called glycolysis, right? Glycolysis, where glucose in the cytoplasm turns into pyruvate. A 6-molecule carbon compounds turns into 3 carbon compound, pyruvate or pyruvic acid. But what do you know that during vigorous exercise, when there is a scarcity of supply of oxygen, the muscle cells start producing energy in the absence or insufficient supply of oxygen to produce lactic acid and energy. All right. So we'll say this is the correct answer as for this question. The next question, which is the diagram based, as we can see in a diagram, the human alimentary canal is given and the specific enzymes juice, right, secreted in location this. So we can see the first one here is the buccal cavity, and buccal cavity releases salivary amylase. I can see second one is liver and liver secretes bile juice. The third one is pancreas here, and pancreas release what? Trypsin and lipase. So when I see that salivary amylase is there in these two, but bile is in the second part, which is there in the this. And trypsin, as I said, trypsin is a protein digesting enzymes which is released by pancreas. You must remember bile is not a digestive enzyme. We say that it does not contain any digestive enzymes. Its role is to emulsify the large fat globules so as the lipase which is secreted by pancreas can digest them. Anyway, let's focus on this part once again, that this is our buccal cavity which has salivary amylase released by salivary gland, sorry, and pepsin is and liver secretes bile juice, while pancreas secretes trypsin as for the options given here. So we'll say that B is the correct option. Next, as you can see, I've taken 4 assertion reasoning based questions. So let's begin with the first one here. In the first question, what does it say? It says that assertion says silver bromide decomposition is used in black and white photography. That's correct. As you know, that the reaction is what? Whether it's a silver bromide or silver chloride, it's saying silver bromide, AgBr, on giving sunlight, right? In the presence of light, decomposes to give silver and bromine gas. So, and this application, it has an application that it is used in black and white photography. Now, then it says that light provides the energy for this reaction. So first of all, assertion is correct. And the reason also is correct because it provides the light. It is the light which provides this reaction to proceed. So we can say that option A is correct. Next is height of a pea plants are controlled by the efficiency of enzymes and is thus genetically controlled. Yes, we know that for a tall plant, the genotype, right? The alleles are either capital T, or small t, small t. So basically, we can say that the height of a pea plant is genetically controlled, right? That's true. Now it says that cellular DNA is the information for the source of making the protein. Yes, the cellular DNA is informations. What we know that, like say for example, we know that some people grow tall, and this is because the enzymes, the DNA, which has the information for making the protein, right, helps in secreting more of growth enzymes, and therefore the person becomes tall, and likewise it can become short. So both of them are, both assertion and reason is correct, and we say that it is the correct. Yeah, both are correct and is the correct explanation. So A is the correct answer for the second part. Now as I read the third part, it says that amphibians can tolerate mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. That's true, that amphibians they can tolerate some amount of intermixing and of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood, and we call them as cold-blooded animals because they can tolerate, and their body temperature depends upon the temperature of the surrounding or environment. Unlike mammals, they cannot control the temperature of their body. Now, the reason says that these animals has two-chambered heart. That's wrong, right? They have three-chambered heart and not two-chambered heart. Right, so there is an incomplete double circulation. They don't have two-chambered heart. So this is wrong. The reason is wrong here. Two-chambered heart is found in, it is found in fishes. Now we are on the fourth part. In the fourth part, it says that assertion says that on freely suspending current carrying solenoid, it comes to rest in geographical north-south direction. That is true. And the reason it says that one end of the current carrying straight conductor behaves as a north pole and the other as the south pole. Yeah, we know that a current carrying solenoid behaves like a bar magnet. I repeat, the current carrying solenoid is what? Solenoid is this, right? It's so connected, when connected with a battery or a cell, right? Its one end behaves like a north pole, another as south pole, just like a bar magnet. So we can say, since bar magnet, a freely suspended bar magnet, always align itself in the north-south direction. So this should also align. And here too, I can see that the assertion is correct, the reason is correct. And why does it align? Is because they behaves like a bar magnet. So we'll say it's option A, where the assertion is correct, reason is correct, and is the correct explanation. Let's move to the next. In the next question, it says, which of the following pattern correctly describes the magnetic field around a long straight wire? So if you remember the right hand thumb rule, what you remember that, let's say this is a long straight carrying conductor, and the magnetic field produced is what? These are concentric circles, right? The magnetic field produced around is concentric circle. So I can see that the option is this. That is from the right hand thumb rule. Let's move to the next. The next question says we have to select the correct match for the following, and the reaction is given here. It says copper sulfate, CuSO4, reacts with iron to give iron sulfate to plus copper. Well, this is correct. As you know, iron is more reactive than copper, so it will displace copper from its sulfate solution. Further, we know what is the color of copper sulfate. The color of copper sulfate, as you know, it's blue in color. So when a reaction takes place, if you remember that what happens, the blue color, right, disappears and pale green color comes due to the formation of ferrous sulfate solution, right? Now, the question here is what? The initial color, well, the initial color has to be blue. So the blue color, initial color is blue, has three options. So any of them can be right. And the final color of the solution, as I said, it's pale green in color, right? So it's pale green in color is the result. So, and what you know that copper so released during the reaction, sorry, yeah, this is copper so released during the reaction get deposited on the iron nail or whatever the iron material is there. And what you see here, that a brownish color is formed. So all is going correct for the B part. And if I see the last one, it is a double displacement, then it says it is wrong. Okay, so what we are left with? All right, there is one more option. As I can see the last one. So blue color of copper sulfate changes to pale green due to the formation of iron sulfate, and it becomes reddish brown due copper gets deposited on iron, and this is a type of displacement reaction. As you can see, a more reactive substance, that is iron, is displacing copper to form iron sulfate solution and copper release. So I'll say that the D is the correct answer for this.